Hello, everyone! Welcome to the series tutorial of Wings Engine's secondary development. Today, we will first introduce the entrance of secondary development. As we all know, Wings Engine is a zero-code digital twin visualization platform. We can use our drag and drop and some simple settings to complete very complex, whether it's two-dimensional or three-dimensional digital twins, to set up and interact with such a project. However, in some cases, some projects' logic is very complex and high correlation. In these cases, we need to use our code development. Although Wings Engine is a zero-code platform, but it provides a very free and flexible interface for secondary development. We not only provide a rich API, at the same time, secondary development can modify and obtain the attributes that you can manually set to modify and obtain. This gives us secondary development, a very, very large flexibility. So today, let's first take a look at where is the entrance to our secondary development. First, we click on News and create a blank digital completion project and named it Secondary Development Example Project. We click Create Project. After creating it, we can get a blank project. Please note that such a function of secondary development. On the external version, it's the SARS version and the client version. There will be some minor differences. We will demonstrate them separately. What we are demonstrating now is a way to carry out secondary development. First, we create a random column chart and put it here. For all our components, on the right side of it, there is a style panel. These style panels can actually be enriched with various settings. And these settings, we can control them through code. For example, the mouse penetration. We click on this. After clicking it, there are 3 dots here. We click it. There is a called code example. We can see how we can use our internal secondary development to get or set it. Of course, we can also use web post messages to set it. This is what we will talk about later in the iframe, in the integrated development that we will talk about later. Today, we mainly look at this area. These 2 settings. We can click to copy the code. Where do we write our code? For each component. Besides the style on the right, we can see there is also interaction data, code, and more. We click on the code option box. Then we click the plus sign. At this time, it will automatically hang a code. Of course, not every component can only be associated with one code. We can hang multiple codes on one component. We can click again. We can see configuration 1 and configuration 2. If you don't like this style of arrangement, We can click like this. It can have such a styled arrangement. When do we need to mount multiple codes? Overall, I recommend that. It's best to write only one class in a code file. If our code has multiple behaviors, I suggest you to hang multiple classes and then encapsulate different behaviors. Okay, today we'll only look at one code. Okay, after having this code, how do we edit it? In the client, there will be two buttons after this code. One is the Edit button, and the other is the Refresh button. These two buttons are basically for our clients to use. But in SAS, there is no Edit button. There is only this Refresh button. We'll see how to use it in the SAS later. Let's click the Edit button first. Okay, after clicking the Edit button, if it's your first time editing, it'll pop up a window asking you what editor you want to use to open this file. To open this set of files, if I had already set it like this, I want to use VS Code to open it. It will start directly. It will start VS Code, then it's very convenient to open this file. The file opened is the code file itself. Then we can directly edit it here. Okay, let's assume that we can see that the sample extension we created. Everything has been written. We can directly see in the comments. To see some of our secondary developments and some basics, attributes, and methods. Of course, we have also given you the API references for secondary development. We press the Control key and click to open it. Okay, you can see it here. Of course, we can also go to our official website. And then click on the developer section to open it. And you can also enter such an interface. Ah, wait a moment. This is actually the same interface. It will open to the secondary development entrance interface. It will open to the development overview interface. This one is a little bit laggy. Let's refresh it. It's okay. It will directly open to the development overview interface. So the development overview, we will introduce the entire secondary development. We will give a brief introduction. Below, we divide it into two sections. One is component to development, and the other is system integration. Our main tutorials and API references to developments are all in this component, which you can refer to. Of course, for simple functions, we can directly do it here. You can see it, such as setting a switch, set an editable character, input boxes, and so on. Then we can directly uncomment it here. Let's first take a look at the comments. Save it. At this time, although the secondary development code file has been changed, but it has not been refreshed, we clicked the refresh button. Okay, look here. The switch has already appeared. This is how we use our secondary development code. To use our secondary development code. So how do we use it in the external environment? We open it in the same way. In the external environment, we open this project. Okay, let's first click on the web interface. And then refresh it. Okay, we found the secondary development. The secondary development example. Click on it again, and then find the file. Code file. At this time, we can see that the editing. The button is gone, because on the entire external interface, you can T directly. To bring up our Visual Studio Code. So how can we develop at this time? We press the Control key and click on the code file. And click it, and it will open. Now the entire code file is mounted. We can copy this code file to the local. Copy a file and save it. After saving it and modifying it, and click Upload here. After the upload is completed, don't click Refresh. It will refresh automatically. This is on the web. For the entire secondary development. To make modifications. Okay, that's all for today's class. Later, we will give you a detailed introduction to some interfaces and usage specifications of the secondary development. Hello, everyone. Let me add that the debugging method of our secondary development in the ordinary development environment. When writing code, we definitely need a normal output or a debugging form. Currently, the secondary development of Wing's engine does not support direct debugging, but we support output. Let's take a look at the output here. Look, the way we output is very simple. Is still a, which is the standard output of console. Console.log. Okay, let's type console.log here. Then we can output a piece of text called component initialization. Okay, and then after we're done, we click refresh. Okay, at this time, the text has actually been output. There is a button in the lower right corner here. After clicking the button, we can see the output here. Of course, our output. Not only can we output such a string, but also a paragraph, an object. For example, we can output this bug. To output it here, Of course, it can also be a complex object. You can directly output it. You can see that it is output here. Try to output a JSON. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at its output. It will output the entire JSON into a string. So, if we output some specific, whether it's a JSON object or even a regular JSON object, we can directly use console.log to output them. In our debugging window is the background output. The secondary development output window, we can see the output result. Okay, that's all for this section.